Welcome to the Golden Feather. Grab a pint, a plate, and pick your seats. Your hosts, Vertek and Chibi Bree, are back from their latest adventures.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Golden Feather. Today we're talking about the reviews from last, the recap of March, and the newest updates and newses from this week. Which the slow development is killing me. I want Ashes now. Thank you for renewing your club membership there. We appreciate it. And yes,
nice, Wood.
All of us share that sentiment. We would love to have Ashes right now. And speaking of, I have Aggelos here.
That's not what my name says.
Nope, that's not what your name says. That's why I just noticed.
Makinoji, it's cool.
We have Makinoji today.
Yeah.
Today we're getting into the role-playing
Let me
part
go
of the
grab
game.
that real quick. Hello, Tinkstep, welcome. Yes, he did. We have undercover. We found the true identity of Makinoji.
Yes.
See, what happens is Makinoji's actually a changeling, so we can change forms at times. So we bounce around.
Yeah. That makes sense. Totally.
Must be nice on the days you don't want to go to work.
So, our month of March review. We were told a lot about nodes. Do you want to chat about that?
Yeah. So nodes. Oh man. So we got a lot of rehashed info. That's actually what most of it was. It was a lot of re-brought up to the light and put back in one single source so that everybody can easily find it.
But to their credit, it's because they're trying to get ready for new players, so try to make it easy.
That, and honestly, even for old people that forget some of the basics.
Old people? Are you calling me old?
You know, and this is something I always highlight. A lot of us who've been following for a very long time, they get frustrated. It's like there's only little bits of news here and there, but what they don't understand, especially you guys, content creators like myself, you know how much of a pain it was to find information because there'd be things said on the website here, a random Twitch stream over here that Steven happened to hop into, Discord over here. It was a pain, especially for new players, to try to find out about the game. Having it all brought in a central location, especially on the website, is beautiful moving forward. So you can't give them as much crap as what some people do when you understand the premise behind why they're doing it.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. And I can definitely give them a gold star on that because it's also nice, again, as you were saying, as content creators, when you're talking about it and you're explaining things to people, you can give them a link. You don't have to say, well, you can check it out on a bunch of different sites and piece it all together, or you can just say, hey, go here.
Or the worst thing as a content creator, having to put out something and then getting refuted in chat by saying, you're wrong. Well, why am I wrong? Well, because Steven said something 3 minutes ago on this random Discord, and now this is the new canon. It's like, well, how was I supposed to know that?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
it's easier because then now we can actually consolidate a lot of data that they're putting out, and they're trying. I really bless Maggie and Toast because they are trying to put a lot more information onto the actual website that otherwise you'll find on things like the wiki and things like that. So yes, Chip, we'll get to that in just a second actually.
Oh yeah.
But I'm really excited to see that they're trying to consolidate data so that kitty trying to see a place where everybody can go and have the same common knowledge, because sometimes yes, me too. Actually, I'll get back to that in a second, but right now I go through the wikis and I look through it, and some of them, there's some discrepancies between them, and some of them have more information than the others, and it's nice to have the ability to go to one place and be like, this is the official information, this is officially what's being said. Yes, actually, Aggelos and I met a few years back, I want to say.
Yes, you were on episode 23.
Very podcast. Tiny DCN podcast at the point. And now you guys have how many?
743. I can't. They put out like 3 a day.
We're on episode, well, actually, we recorded episode 89. 90 is next week. We're near our 2-year anniversary on May 3rd. So yeah, it's moving along.
Yeah. Sorry, Z, for the no countdown, by the way. Usually I try to put it in there within like the 30 minutes or less before we go in, but sometimes you get swamped with a lot of things that need to be done like right now.
Yeah. Right, blame it on me.
But yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. Actually, he's the reason why we have a podcast today, because if I hadn't have been on that podcast with Aggelos, I wouldn't have known what podcasting was like, and then I wouldn't have been like, I miss podcasting. I wish I was on a podcast.
I infected another one.
Yeah,
Yes, I did.
The infection is real, but it's a good infection.
I know. I was looking to get one going. I was waiting on my buddy Hammer. He was talking about getting one going, but then she brought it up and said, "You know what I want to do?" And all right, let's do this.
Bad Vertec, bad. Yes. Hashtag I blame Vertec.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, so just as a small recap with the website updates, they're, like I said, they're hoping to include more information, and they said to look out for classes, systems, lore, all of that good stuff, as well as apparently at the end of the last Dev Diaries post that they made, they said to keep an eye out for housing tools information coming up in the next Dev Diaries. So that I can't wait for. Although, what do you think it'll be, Aggelos?
Oh, I was gonna say, can I fangirl a little bit about
Go
their
for
Dev
it.
Diaries?
Go for it.
I actually wanted to highlight this. I think I'm gonna send it to Steven at one point. I had sent a message to the previous CM that they had, Yavi, like 2 years ago, suggesting this exact same thing. I still have the actual message. I'm gonna send it to Steven, and just so I can be like, hey, look, I thought of it. But anyway,
Yeah.
the dev tools, I love the way they did it. The music was fantastic, by the way. I got a little pump going on. But I like the tool that the way they're showing it out. It's a beautiful thing. It's not really in depth, so a lot of people can get into it very easily, despite your level of programming knowledge. And it's showing progression of the game, which is a beautiful thing. When it comes to the housing node tool, I'm really curious what I think it's actually going to be, and what they're going to highlight specifically is going to be, I don't know, do any of you guys play BDO?
I tried it, I downloaded it, I played it for like 2 hours and then I undownloaded it. It's a beautiful game, but it's like really system heavy.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, if you don't learn all the systems, I know I quit the first time too, because I got power leveled all the way through it, and then I didn't know anything about any of the other systems that make it a good game.
Yeah.
Anyway, the housing tool in there is this like isometric when you get in there, and it allows you to place all the items. I'm imagining a similar system that it's essentially takes you to an isometric view that you look up over your character, and they're going to highlight it using the freehold system. So they'll actually give us a freehold plot and show how the different placements and work, because they've already discussed how the freehold is supposed to be this like interlocking Tetris type system. That's how you determine what buildings are going to be on there.
Yeah, I think we got a little bit of a preview on how it's going to be placed with those blueprints in the BR. How you pick up the blueprints and just drop a building in the middle of nowhere. So it seems almost like it's going to be still like over your shoulder maybe, and be able to like put that blueprint out there, maybe rotate it a little this way or that way, like probably at 90 degrees at a time. I doubt they'd let us get full on like rotate it 10 degrees and drop it in the corner at a weird angle.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I was a little sad though, because I mean, for those of you that don't know, Vertec and I met through Ashes of Creation, and we're actually planning on getting married in game, and eventually the whole engagement thing in real life. But
yeah, well, congratulations.
Thank you. But basically, we're like, if we're married in game, do we get to share the housing land, or like, do we get anything beneficial?
Vertec, run! She gets half your loot.
But then again, if I put her to work for me, I get half of her loot too.
Hey, put me to work for you, excuse you?
I meant if we work together really well, and we're of course putting in equal effort.
All I know is whoever brings in the most loot, generally the person who doesn't becomes the injured spouse, and they get to take more of it. So just so you know.
So about that job race, Versek.
Just saying, guys, is it too early to say that she domestically abuses me in game
You know
all
what?
the time? I mean, usually I tank for her and she just says I'm not healing you. So
That's it.
it's an abusive relationship.
Oh boy. Hey, I make you potions. Alrighty.
You do. But about the Dev Diaries though.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
Go for it.
No, I wanted to comment, like, even though that was old footage, I really, really liked how they put that one together.
Yeah.
Like, I really like to see it in action, how he's just dropping new fashion node over new fashion node. Just here, look at this. Here, look at this. Here, look at this. And it just dropped in something completely different every time.
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
Hopefully we'll get more up-to-date footage with the next Dev Diary, though.
Yeah, that's my fingers crossed. Because, like, I mean, honestly, like, as much as I understand that, you know, they're trying to start from the beginning and make it beginner-friendly, I'd like something more in depth for us who've been following, or as Maggie puts it, the OGs. But moving on. Okay, so Aggelos, first and foremost, before I go on to this next part, what is your opinions on cosmetics?
Okay, this is sort of a hot button topic for me, but I guess I should say, when you're talking about cosmetics, are we saying in period, cash shop, the reason they have, okay.
Encompassing everything.
All of the above.
All the above.
I am not a fan of cash shops. I'm an old school gamer. I prefer the subscription model where everything is there. Cosmetics were meant to show the form of progression. Now with Ashes, I know this is something I had brought up, and they said that unlike some games, one of the most recent games I played and I still love is The Elder Scrolls Online, but they hit a point where they didn't, now they're getting better over time, but they weren't offering any kind of cosmetic reward. If they did, it was very small for doing these great feats in the game. But don't worry, every month they provided you with a brand new, load of their cash shop.
Yeah.
It was frustrating. Like, actually, to date, they have not added a mount in the game since the ones that came out when the game first came out. Meaning they were in the game. Now, I think one is going to be added as an achievement mount, but that's like the first one in 5 years. So I like when I'm seeing cosmetics as a reward for doing some great feat, not how high your credit limit is. So in terms of actual cosmetics outside of that, I really do feel like there's an issue specifically when it comes to competitive PvP, that cosmetics actually are a little bit of a detriment to the entire process, because again, going back to ESO, what armor you're wearing, and Ashes is similar to that, because you're not going to be able to tell by class what they're wearing, because you can be a tank in cloth.
Right.
Why would you? I don't know, but whatever. ESO allowed you to do that as well, but you fought people differently depending on what armor they had. If they were medium armor, they're going to be a dodge build like crazy. Magic, their shields, mana shields, and tanking, actually, you didn't want to attack them because there was a buff that they actually got more power the more they got hit, and then you could end up getting wrecked from that, so you wanted to kite them.
Interesting.
What happened was, when they added cosmetics in, all the big PvP guilds, everyone in their group wore the wedding dress because it covered everything bad. So you just saw like a group of 100 people running around in a white wedding dress because it hid every bit of your armor.
That's hilarious, actually.
I could see that.
But I mean, I could also see the detriment in that, like, oh, now you can't tell what I'm wearing because I'm wearing a wedding dress. But I think it would just be amusing from a or RP side, just to see a bunch of people running around fighting each other in wedding dresses.
It got to that.
That's where I've kind of gotten the opinion that I think World of Warcraft, and this is one of the very few good things I will say about them, is that I think they kind of got the cosmetic thing right as far as how much goes in a cash shop. Like, you can add some that are special edition and nifty and do stuff like a 2-person mount or whatever, And when you're putting a cosmetic item on, it's going to be an exact like visual replacement as far as the armor style. If you wear something completely different, like a wedding dress, it's going to actually be worn on the body, and that's all the armor you have.
Yeah, and you're right. The transmog system limited what the armor, you could only put on armor that was of the same type of armor. So if you're wearing plate, you couldn't put a cloth cosmetic on. It didn't work.
Yeah.
The same is actually with the with Final Fantasy XIV. As a white mage, I can't equip anything that's class specific towards another class. However, I can equip a cosmetic that is all classes, like maybe a swimming suit. So you have a white mage running around in a swimming suit. But
the other thing that WoW did, going back to their cash shop, is why I generally don't give WoW a lot of grief for the cash shop. Is because 90% of the time, whenever they release something, half that money goes to charity of some kind. Like the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Exactly. Almost every time a pet comes out, it's for Make-A-Wish, or I know they did one for like the Haiti Relief. So it's like, I don't feel dirty buying it.
Like the Rainbow Kitten?
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, I can give them credit for that. I don't give WoW a lot of credit for a lot of things because I don't like a lot of the things they've done, but that's at least one thing I like. Because like you, I don't think there really should be a gigantic cosmetic shop, and that's coming from somebody who loves cosmetics. But right now, at least in Ashes specific, I think it's good that they have the extra income to help pay more people and get them actually getting the ball rolling on all this stuff. But once it goes live, if they keep pumping out monthly cosmetics, I mean, I think that might be a bit much.
I know one of the things that got brought up, and if I'm talking too much, just tell me to shut up.
No, you're good.
I like to talk. One of the things that from the community side that people are unhappy about is with the delays that happen, which by the way, delays happen in MMO development. To say that you're angry because a delay happened, you either have no idea how development works, or you just have this entitled attitude of I deserve to have this now. That's not the case. It developed, even when they were ahead of schedule, you know, you can go back and listen to some of our shows. I was like, they're ahead of schedule now, but they're going to hit a development bug that's going to push them back. That's not a detriment. It happens.
Yeah, I'd rather be disappointed now that it's delayed rather than crushed later when a bad game is released, it's incomplete, and everybody hates it and runs away.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, absolutely. So, you know, you have that development delay, but because they didn't give any dates, I know the director's letter that was released was a little lackluster compared to everything else. It's sort of disheartening that they're still keeping up with the monthly cosmetics.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like it's tough because they do need extra income just to make sure they can get more and more people in the caliber of people that they want, and the quality of people that they want to hire. I mean, I'm okay with it for now, but if they're going to continue the monthly thing after it releases, like special event, maybe quarterly or every half a year or something, like I can see that okay.
Well, speaking of cosmetics, and the reason I brought it up, we have a new monthly cosmetics, and as of, I believe yesterday, today's the 5th? Yeah, as of yesterday, it was the last day to get the one from February, which went all of March, and now April. So, but here are the new cosmetics, which, Aggelos, if you would like to go full pun, go for it.
Hey, I was a sad little crab once, you know, but I just don't know how far they'll go with this. Shiny! Is that a flying condor?
I don't know.
Bark, bark.
But
the guy who voices Teratoa was from a band called Flight of the Conchords.
Okay.
Yeah, my sister introduced me to them. They do some hilarious stuff.
I actually met that band when I was down in New Zealand in 2010. It was pretty amazing.
Oh, that had to be a ride.
Yeah.
These guys are hilarious.
So
they're fantastic.
For these cosmetics, I don't really see much I'd go for except for maybe the mount.
I want the mount. I want the toucan macaw ostrich pet thing.
I don't know.
We were talking about the cloak on our show, and I actually really like that. Now, I'm gonna play a Kalar, so it probably wouldn't fit with me. But I love the whale or shark bone collar that goes across the front. That's pretty sick. And the boat looks fantastic. I would 100% take that boat.
Yeah, the boat would be pretty fun too. I mean, it's got that like free sailing on the seas, but not like pirate style. Just kind of out there because you want to be enjoying life.
The
fishing,
boat looks cool. I just don't know what I would use it for personally, because I'm like,
sailing.
I'm actually really curious, and we brought this up on our show, and I'm curious to know what you guys think about it. We see the different cosmetics that are skins, right?
Right.
I wonder if there's going to be a limitation on what skins can go where. Like, that looks like a canoe. Can you skin your galleon to look like that?
Well, is it really a canoe? I mean, if you, for example, and I'm sorry, but it can't help it at this point. I mean, between the hooks and everything. If you look at Moana, that boat is like way larger than a canoe looking for her.
Yeah.
It's well then, but if you get to the Wayfarer scene in Moana, it still didn't have. It's not as much for a galleon. You know, you're not putting cannons on that thing.
But yeah,
Estimate
see,
on release.
there's still a lot of info to come out.
Like 2 people.
Yeah. There's still a lot of info to come out about the boats, though. Are there going to be different sizes? Like strategically, are you going to be able to put more weaponry on one versus another, or are they actually going to be a big boat versus a little one?
Yes, there are, and the different boats actually have different speed sizes and different ways to outfit them. Yes,
well, then,
sir, there is.
What I'm going to say on that one then is that they would not allow you to do that because they've said that there's no pay to win, and I would see if they've thought it down to the fact that you need to get a mount before you can put a mount skin on it, that they've probably gone that in depth and they don't want you to hide, as you were saying, like a galleon with 79 guns on it as a little canoe like that and kind of cruise into somebody's zone of influence and start blowing up their town.
Yeah.
So that would definitely be a pay to win strat, dropping a little skin on a big boat.
I don't know. I feel like it. Okay, but didn't they also say like some armor pieces will be specific to like to the race, because sometimes like this breast piece won't fit properly on this other race's like body form or whatever. So that being said, if boat sizes are specific, then you can't put a small boat size on a large boat because it wouldn't work.
Yeah, and see, that's I think where my mind is on it. Just because they're so against the pay-to-win strategy, I think that would definitely be a thing they're going to aim for. Is no gaming the system like that. Like probably, I can't remember if they specified it exactly, but I would think you couldn't put a floating or gliding mount skin on a mount that's not a gliding type.
And as Marinor just said, they talked about mounts a little bit, and that you would have to find a mount of specific types to use certain skins. That like some mount skins won't be applicable to all the mounts, basically. So that's interesting. I mean, this as we delve deeper into Ashes of Creation, and as they begin to release more and more information on it, I'm sure they'll give us more information on exactly how these mounts and how these skins will work. That being said, maybe if when they reopen the content creator section and we can try to reapply, if we get in, maybe we can help push like, hey, can you talk more about skins? How does skins work? We want more information on skins.
Yeah.
You know.
And to be honest, I would see that crew, again, because of their stance on the pay to win and whatnot and like janky strategies, that they would probably take one battle where ships come in as tiny little what's the race name, Nikua canoes, and just start shooting people with whatever the weapons they can fit on a giant ship, and they would see that one time and they would immediately change the system.
Yeah. On a separate note, they did release information stating that they will be reopening the forums on April 11th, I believe. So we're gonna be creating a forum for the Golden Feather. So if you guys have anything like that you want to keep conversations going about, like we are always interested in hearing what you guys have to say, obviously. We have a Discord if you'd like to join and chat while we're not streaming, and we love to just see other people's point of views. That's our whole point for talking with the community constantly, is meeting new people, seeing what they're up to, and what their point of view on Ashes is.
I honestly never before thought I would actually be excited about forums for anything, because I've never really been a forum rat. But I've actually been kind of waiting for these forums to come back. I took part in them really big when the first forums were out there, and then I trailed off a little bit, and then they disappeared. And now that they're coming back, I've actually been itching for them. And especially now that we have more of a community-based podcast where we're trying to spotlight people and what they're doing and projects that they have, forums where people can put information that lives there instead of like a Discord where it's going to scroll by and you're going to forget about it forever.
Right.
You can actually spot people that are doing cool stuff and bring them out into a podcast and say, check out what this person's been doing.
Right. Right. That's actually the other thing, is that if you guys are interested in creating any sort of content, for example, like Aggelos here with his podcast, and what?
Do anything?
Or if you like our previous guest Mac and OG and some of our other friends, they create different things like music or like information videos. So if you're into any of that and you're interested in being on our podcast, let us know. That being said, Aggelos, I want to turn this on to you a little bit. You run
those eyes.
You run Dungeon Crawler Network, which has been around for a little while. We talked briefly about it, but who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it?
Yeah, rumor has it you've done a podcast or three, like for what, a month or two?
Oh yeah, just
very something small.
New.
Yeah.
No, Dungeon Crawler Network, we started back in 2014, somewhere in there. We've been around for quite a while. We are with our first podcast we created called Tales of Tamriel, which actually, as of tomorrow, if you're watching this on the live stream, is our 200th episode of that. So we've been doing that show for about 200 episodes. It's been a wild ride. We've had several of the developers on there. We've interviewed Joe Blackburn, one of their dungeon designers, way back in the day. Rich Lambert has been on our show half a dozen times. I shouldn't say that, so I think 2 or 3. And a few other people have been on the show. I'm trying to remember right off the bat. A bunch of the big developers. Rich Lambert, he is the creative director there. And that was a real honor. I was invited out to London back in November to see the Bethesda Game Studios Warchild UK concert. Got to interview Inan Zur, the composer.
Nice.
That was fantastic. So I had a lot of fun doing that. So it was a real honor doing that. And of course, we cover a lot of MMOs because that's what our passion is. We love talking about these games. And of course, we have a show for Ashes of Creation called From the Ashes, which is the very first Ashes of Creation podcast. We were the very first ones out there and have been constantly going for 2 years as of May 3rd.
Yes.
Congrats.
Yeah, good time.
You're almost there.
Almost,
Your birthday.
Yeah. And a little, I guess, shout out for that show is we'll have Steven Sharif on the show here in the next few weeks. We're just trying to decide whether or not he's coming on for the actual 2-year anniversary or episode 100. I have to figure that out.
Okay.
But he's willing to hop back on our show. We've interviewed him. He might be half a dozen times or
Nice.
more. But yeah, no, we stemmed the entire thing from our love of playing games. And one of the things that when I was younger, in my younger days, playing games with my friends and actually going to school and talking about them in high school, college. But then as all of my friends got older and moved away, I still wanted to talk about games but didn't have anyone to talk to about them.
Right.
So I got into podcasts and said I could do that. Here I am.
And there it is.
And I'm actually a part of DCN's Final Fantasy chapter for their free company within the game. I'm sad because I'm going to have to leave them because my friend is moving servers into the new
Mateus.
Mateus, which is part of the group of servers, but we can't actually be in a free company with him because it's not like World of Warcraft like that.
Yeah.
So
The RL friends, when they see us face to face, they can really put peer pressure on. Just saying.
yeah.
Understood. No, I got you there.
But they're really fun to play with, so if you guys are playing Final Fantasy XIV and looking for a casual guild to be hanging out with, they're really helpful, really awesome people. So I
Yeah,
recommend them.
they've all been really great. And really fun to talk to randomly in the night when we log on and we're like, nobody's online. No, there's a couple online and they're chatty and they're fun.
I'm sometimes one of them, because I like going to bed super late.
It's 8:30. It's time for me to go to bed. I may fall asleep on the podcast.
Oh, jeez. Don't do that. But yeah, so aside from that, it's Friday, which means it's Fan Art Friday. And today's fan art was from, sorry if it's a Discord user, but Gulo, and then a bunch of numbers, I'm sorry. But they drew a Nikua. Is that how you say that? Nikua?
Nakua.
Trying to steal treasure from a sleeping dragon. And that just, in general, sounds dangerous.
Didn't end well for Bilbo. Well, actually, I guess it did.
Bilbo Jenkins.
Depending on what time you're looking at.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I like this. This is a pretty interesting piece of art, but I'm curious, what is worth so much sneaking past a sleeping dragon?
Yeah, it's almost got like the Scooby-Doo cringe, creepy, like tiptoe walk thing going.
Yeah, he's just totally scared out of his mind, so clearly whatever this piece of loot is gotta be worth it.
It's cool. Shinies.
Gotta get the shinies. I don't know how to say it. Hephaestus? King
Hephaestus?
Hephaestus? Okay. What do you think about the guild system in hometown, quote unquote? I think that's a really interesting question, actually. Vertek and I were talking about it last time.
Yeah. I actually really like that.
It is loot. Enough said. That's fair. That's fair.
How the guilds, like members of the guild, can choose different hometowns. I really like that, because then you can get your racial bonuses. Like anything that happens because of learning more of your history or getting more of the quests that tie you more into the history of the race that you choose. How much of an immersive benefit is that? That's fantastic.
Right.
You're not stuck to the one town that your guild chooses.
I personally like it because, like, okay, it kind of creates a, in a story sense, it creates a, do I fight for myself and what I want, or do I fight with my guild kind of thing? In the case that your guild chooses to fight the specific node that you have as your hometown.
You know what? It also, like, sorry, I know it looks like you wanted to say something for a minute there, Aggelos.
No, I'm going to play devil's advocate when you're done with this.
Okay. Because I was going to say, like, the last piece, just to kind of tie in with what Chibi was saying, is it's going to cause guild drama as well. I guarantee. Because there's going to be, say, most of the guild in one town. The guild itself has decided they need to take down this other area, but you're like, but I have all my stuff there. Do you fight with your guild or do you stand with your city?
Right.
Loyalty to the guild first and foremost.
Yeah.
I am not above killing guild members for your pair of catball boots. I have done it before and I will do it again. So no,
Nice.
I am not real fond of this, because when it comes to the guild goals, we have things that we need to do. You are joining a group of people in order to accomplish those goals. So it's always guild first.
But see, here's also another devil's advocate, is it opens up a lot of opportunity for spies and infiltration type activity. Because if someone can play a double agent properly well, they're going to totally fit into one town and be like, yeah, I'm just with this guild because that's where some friends are. But I really love this town. What kind of
then why would they fight for the town anyway? Then they're fighting for the guild first and foremost. They're not going to have their assets because they know the guild's going to burn it to the ground.
That's fair.
But yeah, I can see him playing a patsy, kind of figure out the strategy, what's going on in town, and relate it to the rest of the guild who's trying to burn it to the ground.
Yeah, it definitely didn't end well for them, did it?
On another note, Steven proved that he wasn't a bot recently. Hashtag not Steven, not yellow.
Yeah. Not Steven, not yellow. I like it. Crack me up, he just decided to up and change his name.
Yeah. I like the interaction that he has with the community.
Yeah, Steven amuses me.
That being said, there is these, how would you describe this photo of these armor pieces? What's going on here?
It's like
accurate
armor versus dress up. Yeah, accurate. I like the poses. The guy's face even looks kind of like the guy from the game.
So, these are the nifty finds of the week from our from Ashes of Creations Discord. Just funny things. I don't know. I like it. I like our community. I think it's good. If you see me packing up and moving, expect that my guild is coming your way.
accurate.
That's super accurate. I like that. Oh, you guys are gonna siege that? Okay, give me a week. Let me move.
Yeah, right.
Let me just get out of the way. I was enjoying my my beachside front. But on a separate note, just to kind of wrap things up, our official podcast time is every Friday at 5 p.m. PST. And our next guest, I just blanked. Fushi. Our next guest is Fushi. And we'll be updating you more throughout the week on our Twitter as to what we'll be talking about because aside from talking about Fushi, we are news, so whenever some news comes out, I'll be able to tell you guys the topics. So
yeah, we kind of play that by ear because you never know what's going to be released and when.
Right. Sometimes, actually, there was this one time where something was released like an hour before our stream, and I was like, oh, hey, new information randomly. So.
But, ooh, yeah. So, yeah, Kung He Festus.
Sorry.
That, why would you destroy all that? That's kind of the idea of why it would cause some distress in a guild, is because someone would want to fight that and maybe just step right up against all their guildmates just because they have more alliance to what they unlocked.
Also, what do you guys think of the defeated node going to a level 0 after a successful siege and freeholds dropping loot instead of dropping a level only? I think it will provide a Zerg type attitude with some of the larger guilds, and PvP will run rampant, and PvP will be the dominant form of game style. I'm primarily a PvE player, same here, and want to enjoy the aspect of the game, just a little worried. Well, let me just put it this way. Going in, I understand that it's open world PvP, and any given time, somebody could just come up and just slap me across the face and I'll fall over dead, because healer. And steal my stuff and run away, so.
Well, so the flip side of that is it's going to encourage more people to fight for their city. It's going to encourage more people to actually take part in the fight instead of just disappearing and not participating because don't want to, whatever. They're going to have a little bit more in stake. Like, they're going to want to go and protect what they have.
Yeah.
Granted, I would have rather it had been a guaranteed doom. It's going to fail and drop, say, down to like half strength and then just dwindle down, and by the end of the day it's gone. Give you some time to grab your stuff and try and run away if you can.
Yeah. But like, I agree with Mariner there. Definitely a lot of guild drama surrounding that kind of stuff.
For those that didn't see it, there's the link for that armor. It does look yummy.
Oh, I like the little like lion-esque. Here, I'll throw it up on the thingy.
That's a proper plate armor too.
I got no more than like 8 DMs from people because they know how much I hate the armor that has been released so far. I love this so much.
Yes.
Let me get it up there for you guys.
Like, a lot of the stuff they have out right now looks very ceremonial. And like fancy pants, like we're going out to like a royal dinner party, but we also want to look like we're ready for battle, kind of.
Right.
But I could see it being really nice for like the scholarly, like casting classes and such.
Yeah.
But aside from
Alliance.
that, like, I've been wanting to see some armor.
It does have that alliance feel to it.
It does.
The lion, the blue.
Yep.
I know where you guys stand, Intrepid. I see this. This is loud and clear. For the Horde. What? No, actually, I got out of Horde World of Warcraft politics after the last expansion. I was like, okay,
What's happening now?
I'm bored.
Do we know
This
when
is good.
this came out, by the way? Do we know when this actually got posted in the Discord?
Apparently, was it today? Z? Yeah, he said, did you see the Steven leak today? So.
I'm just gonna have to look because I'm gonna cry if it was an April Fool's joke.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
No,
I would die.
Belated
I would
April
die.
Fool's joke.
I will legitly die.
Let's see.
What if a guild of 100 people had that armor and started a siege?
It's gonna be my guild. What are you talking about? I love that.
As soon
armor.
as I saw it, I heard a jealous sigh of relief.
Yeah, no. Yes, today. Okay, good, because I would have cried if that was
An April Fool's joke.
Oh,
an
yeah.
April Fool's joke, and Steven wouldn't play with my heart like that because. Yeah, no, it was today. I've been begging for something like this because I hate that high fantasy style. Like, that's not realistic. I like more realistic. I don't mind ornate, but I like realistic. And half the stuff that's quote unquote plate armor has like one strip of plate on it. It's like that's not
Yeah.
armor.
If it's gonna be plate, it's gotta be plate. Like, that would look alright for like a medium armor maybe. But it still looks too ceremonial. Like, someone's gonna spend a lot of money on that and then go out and trash it by stabbing bears in the woods?
Yeah.
Probably not.
That is probably one of the most beautiful things I've seen. But yeah, it does look like an alliance thing with the lion on the front.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm like, I hope it's not an April Fool's joke, but that still is a beautiful piece. And
Yeah.
I absolutely adore this thing. So I'm so excited. This may or may not be my phone background right now.
Yeah, I like how they put some wear on the shoulders too. Looks like it's actually been struck by a sword or 12.
Okay, so with continuing the wrap up, you said your big 200 podcast is tomorrow?
Yes.
Tomorrow. At what
200
time?
for Tales of Tamriel, our ESO show. It's tomorrow at like 8. Is it 8 p.m.? 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when we're doing that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Be there or be square.
200 is a pretty big milestone for most podcasts. Most don't make it to 50, much less 100 or 200. It just doesn't normally happen. There's a term that we use in podcasting called pod fade. A pod fade is essentially when a podcast just stops. You know, sometimes they'll slow up a little bit and then they just stop doing. They don't have an official end. Some actually be like, yeah, this is our last episode. But a lot of podcasts actually pod fade very early on. When we did our ESO show, we weren't the first ones out there. We were like the 8th podcast to be out for ESO. At the time of launch, there were no less than 23 podcasts about Elder Scrolls Online.
Wow.
Up until about 6 months ago, there were 2.
Wow.
Now we're back up to about 6, I think, because more interest was generated in the game. But yeah, for the past probably 3.5 years, it's been us and one other show that had the Keeping the Torch lit. From when the game first came out, there was literally 20-something podcasts about the game.
Okay.
Nice.
Kung asks, what profession will you choose?
Me?
Oh.
Just us, all of us.
But yeah, you first.
Are we talking crafting profession or are we talking job?
Or talking what? Sorry.
Let's go crafting profession.
Crafting profession? Probably going to be a blacksmith. Because I do blacksmithing in real life.
Oh. I'm gonna have to learn more of that later.
Yeah. I could probably use some of those services for my cosplay.
Yeah, I know if I can find the time, I'm gonna actually do as many of them as possible to support Bree and I's characters. And she'll probably end up doing the other half, so we can just, between the two of us, create anything we could need.
Yeah, I generally plan on going whatever the Weaver option is in this because cleric, so.
Fair.
Yeah. And then probably forego things like the animal husbandry and just buy our pets from everyone else with the fantastic armor we make and sell.
Right.
I've been getting really into horse breeding and BDO, so I've actually really started to like animal husbandry. So that's a war feature with me.
I mean, I had fun with some chocobo breeding, but that's about as far as I've gotten with that type of thing in any game.
Well, in that game, you can't do much with them. Once you own it, there. For single-player games, you advance the story, but this you can actually breed and sell. In
Create
BDO,
new variations and...
Yeah. In BDO, the tier 8 coursers and the evolved weapon, or the evolved horses, are the most expensive item in the game.
Wow.
That you could sell. To put it in perspective, a base level piece of boss gear runs maybe 200 million silver. That's a base level. Even a tet or a pen level for some pieces are something like in the 2 to 7 billion silver. Most coursers, the evolved horses, the Pegasus and stuff that you can breed, are often 17 to 20 billion.
Nice.
So give you a little bit of perspective. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, would you? Good luck with that. Good luck with that.
Kind of asked, do we know how the profession will be? Will it be energy that will stop you from farming too much?
So, correct me if I'm wrong, Aggelos, but if I recall correctly, they were saying there wouldn't be like a big energy thing so much as like a time and resource sink.
It's all derived from resources in the world. Resources are limited. So yeah, you have to go out and find them, and that mine may dry up, so you may have to find another one.
Or go to a neighboring town and try to buy it from their market.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's essentially moving. You're limited by what you can explore, what you can find, and also what you can carry. So that is another part of it. Remember, Steven came from Arcage. One of the things he hated about Arcage was the very pay to win. One of the things that's really pay to win about Arcage is the energy thing and having to buy energy potions in order to continue to craft.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll see that coming back in any game Steven touches.
That being said, unlike World of Warcraft and unlike Final Fantasy, for sure unlike Final Fantasy, the crafting artisans in this game are going to be either you can do generalized or you can do specialized. So a specialized will be able to do, like, I think from getting the materials all the way through producing something, if I have that correct. And then the generalized will be like just basic things. I forgot exactly.
It's actually more related to there's 3 trees: gathering, processing, and artisan. And you pick one of those, so you are limited in that regard. So, like, if you're an artisan, you're buying all your resources from a processing person, someone who smelts and someone who gathers and stuff like that. So you are limited in that regard. In terms of the art or the specialization, it's within that specific tree. A more generalist, you can make, let's use blacksmithing. A generalist can make everything: armor, swords, maces. A specialist may be a swordsmith that really only specializes, but by doing that, you're giving up the other stuff.
Can make some really amazing swords, like the raid tier, drop blueprints and such like that. But axes, you can chop a tree with it and that's about it.
Yeah, if that.
Woodchip, regarding your comment, saying, I'm thinking refining will be the most profitable. That could be, or actually somebody who goes out, takes their time and gathers things, sets a base price for the resources to sell them. That could be pretty profitable too, because then you have people who need those and constantly will need them that will be buying it from you. So I don't know, I see each one being uniquely important and valuable, but as far as profit goes, I guess we'll see. That's another thing that'll fluctuate depending on region and on server.
I see
supply.
gathering.
And supply.
I see gathering as the most profitable, mainly because it's the most risky. You have to go out in the world into unguarded areas to mine or chop trees or whatever you have to do to gather your resources, and then transport them back by whatever you and maybe a donkey or some other kind of pack animal can carry. And then if you want to sell them in any other place besides your town, you also have to caravan. So I see gathering as being the most profitable as far as how much money you're dumping in.
Not to mention, if I have a secondary character, I can do gathering on my primary character, go over to my secondary character and do something like maybe the next step, like refining or something. And maybe have a third, I don't know, to do the official like armor making so that I can have up-to-date armor. But that's 3 characters that I have to keep up on. It's a good thing I'm interested in at least 3 of the healer types.
Yeah, I'll have one person who's going to be trying to game the stock market and the actual materials market, and probably just sitting in town and crafting. If I don't have to leave to get experience to increase my crafting stuff, then I'll just sit in town and get whatever experience I get from crafting, and that'll be the thing.
Right.
It's going to be a homebody.
That's the other thing I'm curious about. And I don't know if they've said anything specifically about this, but leveling for actually going out and fighting versus leveling from doing your crafting. Is it like World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy where you level your crafting separately from your character's level, or could you perhaps level your character by crafting?
Yeah, he's mentioned it before about artisan class. So
Okay.
I believe it's going to be an isolated thing.
It might have its own. It might be having its own experience track too. So
Yeah.
there's a difference between combat experience and crafting experience.
Oh, Kang, I am not afraid of the lore. The lore will be super deep with this one. Steven just refuses to share a good bit of it because he'd rather us experience the lore. But, I mean, there's so much lore already. If you just go look at the cosmetics and the posts that they make, they put little information tidbits here and there. And not to mention, they did specifically mention in the March recap that they're hoping to do more information on lore soon. So, soon, team.
Yeah, they're just very tight-lipped about giving out anything.
Yeah.
Like, when they announced the name of the world, even, they were like, should we even do this?
One great location and resource to find out more on lore is actually, if you have the time, go back, find their last streaming charity thing where they did it for 24 hours and they played D&D or Pathfinder with Steven's version of Ashes of Creation. So there's a lot of lore in that.
Yeah, just set aside an Ashes Day.
Yeah.
Learn a few things.
An entire day. If you're trying to stay for 24 hours, just go for it. But that being said, Aggelos, when is your podcast normally?
We record every Thursday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern is when we go live on twitch.tv/Dungeon Crawler Network.
Also, sorry, go check that out because that's where a lot of information is. There's 4 of you, right? And you
Yes.
guys generally discuss whatever is coming out, like all of your opinions.
Correct.
And it's a very conversational thing where they're all just like a bunch of friends just chatting. But as far as you asking so many questions, we welcome your questions. I love your questions. In fact,
every one of them.
if you want to come to our Discord and ask a bunch of questions ahead of time, I can prepare them and get them ready for the next podcast, and we can go over them and have our conversations. I watched 16 hours of that stream. Such a
No.
loser. You're not a loser. I recorded and downloaded it so I could watch it later. You're not a loser.
Not to mention, I'm about to go reading through the whole thing.
Yeah,
Just
so
to pick out everything I can. So.
because I'm pretty sure somebody did. Actually, I think was it Shays that did a transcript on it.
Actually, I think
Or
Z
with
did
Z,
that.
it was Z. Yes,
Yeah.
one of
Z did.
I knew it was one of them because I know Shays did the transcript on one of the live cast,
Yeah, he
but
does a lot
Z
of
did the
those live
transcript
streams.
on the Pathfinder. So Z has this amazing, huge chunk, like basically a book.
120 pages or something like that?
It's crazy amount, but yeah, excuse the spelling. I was trying. It was okay. But yeah, so check out Aggelos on that for more Ashes of Creation content. Not to mention his Tales of Tamarin tomorrow. I think that's what 5 p.m. PST because 8 p.m. EST.
Yes, that's correct.
Hey, I can do math sometimes. But yeah, aside from that, we are live every Friday, 5 p.m. PST here on the Golden Feather. I live stream a couple of times a week, but that's being reduced. I'm still doing a couple of times a week, just the amount of time is being reduced. I'm focusing on learning PHP for myself, and possible job opportunities that come with that. So, but I enjoy cosplay, and you'll see me hanging out in cosplay and doing some Final Fantasy generally on my stream. And Vertec.
And me, I'm probably dialing back a little bit on my endeavors outside of this podcast, mainly because I'm also picking up PHP. We're both kind of diving in at the same offerings for that. So I need to spend a lot of time learning because I haven't done any coding in a while.
But don't you worry, we have already planned enough time for the podcast, so the podcast will always
this
be here.
podcast is going nowhere.
Yeah.
Except up.
Yes.
But I would like to say we would not be here or doing this without you guys. So thank you everyone who contributed questions and even just talking, saying hi, and Z for bringing me that link because that armor is delicious and I would probably not have seen it today.
Wood chip. By the way, congratulations and thank you for following. You're our 100th follower here on Twitch. Thank you so much.
Ooh. Thank you.
But yeah, so we're working on things together. Hopefully when we get to the new place, we'll have a nice little corner set up with a bunch of Ashes of Creation stuff behind us. And tons of future podcasts to come. We'd love to hear your opinions. So thank you so much, Aggelos, for your time. I really am glad that you were able to join us.
I appreciate you guys offering to have me on. It was a lot of fun.
No problem.
No, we wanted to have you on for a while, man.
We don't have a donation page or a Patreon yet. We are actually I'm working with Vertec on custom building a website. So more on exactly what that website will entail later. But yes, through the website we will have a subscription thing, and we'll actually prefer you guys to go through that. One, it'll be cheaper. Two, we get more of the money versus Twitch taking like half of it. So, yay.
With Patreon taking 30%.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, it's 15%.
I don't think Patreon's out that much anymore.
No, it's 5 to 15%. I actually left Patreon because it was cheaper for me to build my own website than to go through Patreon.
There.
So, yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Join us in Discord. Whether or not we are streaming, we are always looking at the conversation in there. And Aggelos, we hope to have you on again sometime.
Absolutely. I'm glad to be here, and hopefully we'll get a chance to have you guys on our show too.
That would be awesome.
Absolutely. We'd love to.
Well, first time for Vertec, multiple times for Chibi. She'll be a returning guest.
Just don't go back and watch those. They're bad with me in them, but like you should watch his new stuff. They're amazing. I had no clue what I was talking about back then. I was like, I don't know, I'm new and it's a podcast and I'm enjoying my life. So, yeah, Cat throws 29.
Is that what I'm up to, Woodchip? All right. And she's back again on my lap. She's the most persistent cat
See,
ever.
I wish my cat would come. I'm like, come here, and I put her on my lap, and she just runs away. Like, no, I don't want to be here. Human.
Yeah, we've got one lovey cat and one very scaredy cat.
Yeah.
There she is, right there for everyone.
Aww.
Look at the fluff
hey.
Yeah.
She's a little blurry one, but she's cute.
That blur on, which is pretty neat. But yeah,
You have
that's where
5
she's
cats.
at.
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. Okay. So yeah, thank you guys so much. We've had a lovely conversation with you, and we look forward to the next one. Have a great week.
Thank you so much for your time. Have a good day.